With more than 6,000 small and microcap companies listed, if you're looking for the next apple at the earliest stage, then Channel Check truly is the orchard. The listed companies support Channel Check, so it's free for you, the potential investor, to gain access to institutional quality research from FINRA licensed analysts, advanced market data, industry reports, news, and a growing catalog of videos and webcasts. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and register for Channel Check so you're always up to date on what's going on at the small and microcap data place. Welcome to the C-Suite series presented by Channel Check and Noble Capital Markets. Noble is an SEC-registered, FINRA-licensed broker-dealer and the source of the equity research available on Channel Check. Today's interview features Cocrystal Pharma, NASDAQ ticker symbol COCP. Noble Senior Research Analyst Robert LeBoyer interviews Cocrystal CFO and Interim Co-CEO James Martin and President and Interim Co-CEO Sam Lee. Visit channelcheck.com or click the link in the description for Noble's research on Cocrystal Pharma, as well as news and advanced market data. And now, here's Robert, James, and Sam.
Can you start by providing an overview of Cocrystal Pharmaceuticals?
Well, first, thank you, Robert, and thanks to Channel Check for hosting this interview. We really appreciate it. So at Cocrystal, we are focused on discovering and developing acute and pandemic antiviral treatments for COVID-19, influenza, hepatitis C, and norovirus. Now, viral diseases are arguably among the oldest and most serious and most intractable problems facing humanity. They have the potential to strike any person in the world, causing suffering, debilitation, and even death, in addition to the economic loss. So Cocrystal, which has a proprietary structure-based design technology for discovering and developing first-in-class and best-in-class broad-spectrum antivirals. We are focused on major viruses in high-value indications. We are acutely aware of the devastating impact of COVID-19 pandemic that has led to more than 171 million cases and in excess of 3.5 million deaths worldwide. Additionally, in the last century, more people have died from influenza than in World War I and World War II combined. An estimated 71 million people worldwide have hepatitis C, and there are about 20 million norovirus infections per year in the US alone with no approved drug.
Could you tell us a little bit about your business model and the leadership team?
Sure, Robert. So we have a very cost-efficient business model with work performed not only in our laboratories in Bothell, but as well they're outsourced to highly qualified contract research organizations. This allows us to actively and effectively advance our development programs in high-value indications simultaneously. We have an outstanding and experienced management team and scientific advisory board that includes 2 Nobel laureates. Joining on today's interview, as you had introduced, is Dr. Sam Lee, our co-CEO and president, who's also a co-founder of Cocrystal. Sam has more than 25 years of infective drug discovery research experience. I am alongside Sam, serving as co-CEO and CFO, and have more than 25 years of financial experience. Now, it's sad, but we have recently announced the passing of our CEO, chairman, and co-founder, Dr. Gary Wilcox. We are fortunate to at least have a highly dedicated team in place to help us seamlessly advance our antivirals programs to clinical development. Importantly, the Cocrystal team is committed to carrying on Gary's quest to address the global needs for new antiviral treatments.
Could you provide some more detail about your proprietary structure-based drug design platform and how it differs from the traditional approaches to drug discovery?
Before we discuss our platform technology, let's talk about the importance of the viral replication. The virus, when they enter the host cell, they have one important goal. They want to bring their replication machinery, and then you replicate the genome copies. So if you block this replication process, you kill the virus. If you kill the virus, you cure viral disease. This is a well-validated therapeutic approach, as is shown in herpes, acyclovir, HIV, influenza, and hepatitis C. So then question is, why is it so difficult to develop the best-in-class antiviral compounds? I think this is why we developed this platform. In order to cure the viral disease, you have to really focus on 3 areas. One is the in vitro potency of the compound. The second important property is a broad spectrum. Third, very challenging issue is a drug resistance profile. If you apply conventional drug discovery approaches using high throughput cell-based screening or biochemical screening, it's really difficult to control or improve these 3 different properties. That's why we developed our own platform technologies. So our technology utilizes 2 different areas to start with. First one is a high throughput protein crystallography. Basically, it generates the many high resolution X-ray data. It shows where the drug binds and how the drug binds. So this is a very important the roadmap to guide the medicinal chemistry that translates into rapid development of the antiviral compounds. And also we apply the computational chemistry before we start the chemistry to design the many different molecules. We exercise this computational work and select the best virtual compounds, and we synthesize.
How are you able to design product candidates for multiple routes of delivery?
Yes, our goal is to advance breakthrough medicine to market as fast as we can. So one molecule for multiple indications, so well-established approach in oncology and in many other therapeutic areas. At Cocrystal Pharma, we developed our unique lead selection process. Can we identify the one lead molecule for multiple products, whether administration is oral or inhalation or injection? Of course, everyone appreciates the oral drug, and it's very convenient. However, we believe the inhaled drugs are very important for the treatment of acute respiratory viral diseases, such as COVID-19 and influenza. So you just ask a simple question: where are the viruses? The virus infect the respiratory tracts. So we believe this strategy, when we select the careful selection of the lead molecule, that it could actually convert into multiple products, again, oral, inhalation, and injection drug candidates.
And what indications are you targeting, and where are your product candidates in the development pipeline?
We currently applying our platform technology for developing best-in-class drug candidates for influenza, COVID-19, and as well as other coronavirus, finally, Norovirus. Each disease areas that brings a significant market opportunity.
Yes, certainly. You're addressing some very big unserved or underserved markets. Could you discuss the Influenza A/B program that you have with Merck?
So I'll take that one. So in January 2019, we signed an exclusive worldwide license and collaboration agreement with Merck to design and develop Influenza A and B antiviral drugs. It included upfront license payment, and Cocrystal has the potential to receive milestone payments up to $156 million, as well as royalties on product sales commercialized under this program. The candidates developed under the Merck program are expected to be active against both seasonal and pandemic and existing drug-resistant influenza A/B strains. During the first 2 years of this agreement, we worked jointly with Merck to develop potent influenza A/B inhibitors, with our R&D expenses being fully reimbursed by Merck. In January 2021, we are proud to announce that we met all of the obligations of the research collaboration agreement on time. And Merck has now assumed responsibility for all funding and R&D, including the clinical development of these compounds.
And could you discuss how the Cocrystal Influenza A program differs from the candidates that are partnered with Merck?
Yes, we're very excited about the Influenza A lead molecule. Influenza A lead molecule CC42344 is developed for the treatment of pandemic, seasonal, and emerging avian influenza viruses. Last month, there is a very important paper published in Science. These authors are concerned about the emerging H5N8 avian influenza viruses. So our molecule, that CC42344, is highly active against these pandemic strains as well as a seasonal influenza A strain, and more importantly, active against the Tamiflu and baloxavir resistance influenza A strains.
Okay, and what are the next steps in the Influenza A program?
We are currently finishing up the GLP tox study, which is the last step of IND enabling study. Also, we're preparing all the documents for phase 1 study.
And what do you project the market potential for a successful influenza antiviral might be?
So, Robert, influenza remains a major US and global concern, with approximately 1 billion cases annually and up to 650,000 deaths each year. Current antiviral treatments are burdened by just significant viral resistance. This includes Tamiflu, which has a long history of drug resistance issue, and Xofluza, which has a strong emergence of additional resistant mutations. So this, coupled with the inability of vaccines to put an end to influenza, leaves a significant unmet need that we are relentlessly working to meet.
Yeah, that's certainly the deaths and the incidence of hospitalization, very good market to pursue. Could you also discuss your antiviral program in coronavirus and more specifically COVID-19?
Before COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, that actually we initiated research collaboration with the Kansas State University back in 2018. Kansas State scientists, Dr. Chang, Kim, and Grudas, they worked on broad spectrum protease inhibitors, and they're trying to develop the treatment for feline coronavirus and noro infection for many years. So when we look at their work, we carefully review their patents and publications. We recognize this, the target protease inhibitors, we call cysteine protease inhibitor, is a potentially really good target for broad spectrum antiviral compounds. In fact, that this active site is highly conserved among many RNA viruses. I noticed that immediately that the compounds they made was again active against the MERS coronavirus and SARS-1, which is 2003 SARS now, and also the Norovirus and human rhinovirus, enterovirus. The list is really long. So we look at this target. We developed a platform and for developing protease inhibitors. Then outbreak that happens. So we immediately look at some of the compounds working with the Kansas State scientists, and they actually demonstrate some of their compounds that has a superior activity against the SARS-2. So we entered the 2 exclusive license agreement with the Kansas State. So last year, we characterized the preclinical property of the licensed compounds. We nominate the one compound as a lead molecule.
Yes, that's a very good point. And the idea that COVID-19 is part of a family of coronaviruses that have been around for a long time, and that the company has been working in the entire family of viruses is a really important point. And the fact that it's a different mechanism of action is also very relevant. Could you provide a little background on the agreements with Kansas State University Research Foundation?
Sure. So we signed an exclusive initial agreement with KSurf in February 2020, and then by April 2020, we expanded that to a second agreement. These agreements enable us to develop and commercialize therapeutic, diagnostic, and prophylactic products against coronavirus and others based on the antivirals discovered by KSurf. Now, these compounds are at a preclinical stage and having novel mechanism of action that we believe could play an important role in treating COVID-19.
What criteria are used in selecting a preclinical lead from the licensed compounds from Kansas State University?
3 properties: SARS-2 antiviral activities, in vivo efficacy, and finally PK data. So Kansas team already demonstrate the in vivo activity as well as in vivo efficacy of their compounds in a mouse model. So we characterize their compounds in terms of the PK and safety profile. And again, last year we nominated the lead molecule.
How is the company using the technology program to discover novel oral protease inhibitors?
So upon the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, the Cocrystal team immediately developed the platform, COVID-19 platform technology. That requires a variety of the SARS-1, SARS-2, and MERS, the target crystals. We generate the many different compounds. We now completely, we have a new chemical series that which is completely different Kansas compounds. And this compound, we believe, is an oral inhibitor, and we're very excited about this compound.
Yes, and this is going to be an oral administration.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and how do the novel SARS coronavirus 2 replication inhibitors differ from the KSurf licensed inhibitors?
We believe that the mechanism of action targeting viral replication is really essential and effective approach for the treatment of the COVID infection. So we continue to develop another target. We looked at the replication enzyme complex. We select the drug target, and we already developed the platform approach for this particular target. And we are very excited about the current data. We hope to complete the lead optimization this year.
Could you also tell us a bit about your hepatitis C program?
Sure. So we've completed a phase 2A study with our lead program, a molecule we named CC31244. It's for the treatment of HCV under an ultra short treatment strategy that addresses the limitations of the current existing long-term HCV strategies. You see, long-term treatment strategies could allow for the viruses to replicate and mutate. This creates significant resistant challenges and increased risk for adverse effects. In addition, shorter treatment regimens have proven to gain rapid commercial success and market share gains, as we have seen with Gilead's compound at 12 weeks and then the entrance of AbbVie's at 8 weeks. We're currently looking at a possible 4 to 6 week treatment.
Wow, that would be a big improvement, and it sounds like this would make the therapy more tolerable and more practical to serve more patients. Is that
exactly?
Would you agree? Okay, great. And what's next for the HCV program?
So we complete our HCV 2A trial with 31244, and it produced strong results. The 31244, it's a broad spectrum potent polymerase inhibitor that is orally administered, and it targets the liver. So in our phase 2A trial, we included 6 weeks of Epclusa. Now, Epclusa is a 12-week treatment, so we cut the treatment in half to 6 weeks. And we added only 2 weeks of our compound. So a total of 6 weeks of Epclusa and 2 weeks with ours. The treatment was well tolerated with no study discontinuations due to any adverse effects. And with that, we cured 8 out of the 12 subjects. They had a virological cure in just 6 weeks. Now, in addition to these 8 patients who achieved and sustained a viral response, we also noticed that they had a significantly higher frequency of CD8 plus T cells compared with the 4 who relapsed. Now, this provides an opportunity for both patient screening and personalized medicine.
And norovirus is not really something that people think of or really understand that well. Why did you choose norovirus as an indication?
Norovirus is a serious viral disease causing acute and chronic infection. There are no approved antiviral drug for noro illness. Cocrystal team is already working on the norovirus protease inhibitor in addition to polymerase inhibitor. So I think we believe this is a very important area that we need to come up with the first-in-class antiviral compounds.
And what's next for this program?
Yes, next step is that we need to select a preclinical lead molecule so we can initiate the phase 1 study. We are currently conducting the proof of concept animal model work with the first set of norovirus protease inhibitors.
In the area of intellectual property and patent rights, could you tell us how your intellectual property is protected?
So we take intellectual property very seriously. We have a very experienced board and management team that sees what happens when you have success with a compound and the challenges that will come to try to take part of that success. So we are protecting our intellectual property by filing patent applications on the structure of these drug candidates. We fundamentally build a patent wall with methods of manufacture, formulation, and uses.
And turning to the financials, how well funded is the company?
So we have a very clean capital structure with very few warrants, no preferred stock, and no debt. We recently completed a financing in May to raise net proceeds of approximately $36.4 million. And proudly, we closed this transaction at nearly a 10% increase above the closing 5-day average stock price. Now, while we are aggressively advancing our programs, given our cost-efficient strategy, we expect to have sufficient capital to fund our operations through 2024. And that does not include the potential milestone payments we could get from our Merck collaboration, which would only serve to extend that runway. And as such, we do not anticipate the need for any additional capital raises for the remainder of this year and for some time beyond.
Okay, so it sounds like you have plenty of cash through 2024 today, and that could potentially increase through the collaborative agreements and the milestone payments. So you will be able to fund all of these clinical trials to report the data milestones along the way. So could you summarize some of these milestones that we can look forward to in the next 12 to 18 months?
Sure. So as a recap, with our influenza program, we are preparing to enter a phase 1 testing third quarter of this year. As you know, on the AB, we have partnered with Merck on the Influenza AB, which Merck is now assuming additional development and clinical costs. With our multiple COVID-19 programs, we are advancing our lead molecule under the KSURF agreement, as well as 2 additional COVID-19 inhibitors that have a novel mechanism of action toward the pre-IND status. We are also have the potential for initiating clinical testing in 2022. And with norovirus, we expect to announce results of a proof of concept testing later this year, actually later this month.
Okay, so you've given us a lot of detail about the technology, the product, and the finances. Could you just summarize some of the major investment points about the company?
So we have a proprietary structure-based drug design technology to develop these first-in-class, best-in-class, broad-spectrum antiviral drugs that we talked about. Our platform enables us to intelligently and effectively design better drug candidates, and that's really the core of the company. We are focused on large market opportunities for the treatment of acute and chronic viral diseases, including both seasonal and pandemic, and that includes influenza, COVID-19, hepatitis C, and norogastroenteritis. Our product candidates are tested for multiple routes of delivery, including oral, inhalation, and injection. And this really serves to expand our commercial opportunities. So that's very important the way we do that. We have a very robust development pipeline, including collaboration with Merck. Our structure-based design technology has applications in a wide range of antivirals. On our leadership team, we have a very seasoned leadership team, including the 2 Nobel laureates and biotech veterans with a proven success in drug discovery and development, business, and finance. We also have a very cost-efficient business model supported by a strong cash position and a clean capital structure. And as I said earlier, with our cash on our balance sheet, we are expected for this to take us through 2024. And most importantly, we are committed and passionate about developing and commercializing new antiviral therapeutics that address these devastating viral diseases.
Thank you for joining us for this C-Suite interview presentation brought to you by Channel Check. Visit our YouTube channel for more interview content, as well as virtual roadshows and conference presentation replays. New content is added regularly, so subscribe below to stay up to date. Visit channelcheck.com or click the link in the description to access equity research, news, and advanced market data on this and the 6,000 other small and microcap companies listed.